My next whip is the socks that I'm making. I just realized this is actually half a finished object. Anyway, I'm already past that section of the podcast, so... Good day everyone, my name is Mariette, also known as the Boervrou, and this is episode 14 of the Crafty Stitches Podcast. Today is the 27th of June 2022 and I'm coming to you from South Africa. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody that's been watching, and to all new viewers, very welcome, and I hope that you will enjoy this content. So as you can see, we are in winter at the moment. The days are quite cold. This morning we had a lot of frost, and yes, it's been a cold morning and I'm sitting here with cold fingers. But I'm not wearing any mittens because I need to go through my things. So let's jump right into this episode. I do have a finished object for you today. And so let's start there. My finished object is my construct hat by Willie Wormhead, and this was a very fun hat to make. Hope that you can see it nicely there. For this hat I used Knotty Habit yarns, 3-ply DK in the colorways Cherry Pie and Sabelle. Cherry Pie is the purple color, and I really enjoyed this knit. It is knit sideways, so you start with a provisional cast on and you knit the hat sideways with short rows to get the shaping, and yeah, I really enjoyed this hat. I think in my previous episode I just started the 4th or the 5th section, and at the end of the day I worked 7 sections. 2, 4, 6, 7, yes, 7 sections. My row gauge was off, and my sections were bigger than suggested in the pattern, but it worked out fine. And then I had to do a garter graft to join the pieces together. So this is what the hat looks like on. So it is fitting quite nicely. It is not too tight or too loose. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this hat. I'm so glad that I joined the workshop and learned a little bit more about short rows and started this hat. And I really love this yarn as well. It is really lovely yarn to work with. It is nice and squishy. I was a little bit afraid that my floats might be too tight, but at the end of the day it didn't seem like it was a problem, and I'm very happy with this project. I used 4mm needles for this project, and at the end of the day I used 100 grams of yarn. So I used 64 grams of the Sabelle, the creamy color, and I used 46 grams of the purple color, the cherry pie. So in actual fact, I've got exactly another 100 grams left. So if I wanted to, I could have switched the yarns and just make myself another hat. But I'm not going to do that. I am keeping my leftovers to do something else with them in the future. Alright, so that is my one and only finished object for this week. So let's move on to whips. My first whip, I'm sure that you have seen it before, but I'm just going to show it quickly. It is the lace that I am making for the pantry shelves. And in my previous recording, I had this part done to the marker there, which is, by the way, a Progress Keeper by Ietsie Klein. I hope it's visible there. And then I have added another 46, almost 46 repeats to the piece, as you can see there. But the yarn that was on the cone is finished, and when I was working on this, I didn't want to get up and go get more yarn, so I just stopped there. But this is my 46th repeat since last time. So I'm just gonna move my Progress Keeper up to here, and then I will remember where I was last time. So this is almost done, this piece, for the second piece of the 6 that I'm doing this year. So for this, I'm using L Pure Gold Crochet number 5 yarn. It is 100% acrylic yarn, and I'm using a 2.25 millimeter hook for this project. I also have a tutorial on YouTube for how to make this lace, and I will link it down below for you if you are interested. Right, so that is my first whip. My second whip is the baby cardigan that I'm working on, and sadly I did not touch it these past 2 weeks. So I'm not going to show it today, but I am going to try and still finish it this month because I want to get it done. Not sure if it's possible, but we'll see. So I'm not showing that one today because I haven't touched it. My third whip is the cowl that I am re-knitting as part of the projects that came out of my whip bin that I want to finish this year. And in the previous episode, I was at this point here, and I finished the rest of the knitting and the ribbing at the bottom. I've got lots of ends showing at the moment, but yes, this cowl will be worn on my neck like this, and when I block it, it will still stretch out a bit because I'm making it with cotton yarn, and I still need to knit the I-cord that goes in here, and I need to block it. So I'm very happy with the progress on this project, because I wanted to finish this project this month, and it seems that it might be possible. So for this project, I am using Moya 100% cotton yarn, which is a South African hand-dyed cotton yarn, and I'm using the colorway Sangria. and I am using a 4mm size 4mm knitting needles, Chiagu circular needles, for this project, and it's coming out great. I'm very happy with it. I know if you look at the bind off, it looks a little bit flaring, but this needs to stretch, and the whole thing is still going to stretch out when I block it, so I think that is going to work out perfectly. I did not switch the needle sizes from this to this because I did not want the ribbing to singe in, and I think it's going to work out great. I'm very excited to block this baby. I'm going to take this progress keeper out. I have not started the I-cord yet, but I will do so very soon. So that is the cowl that I'm re-knitting. Alright, and then my next whip is the socks that I'm making. I just realized this is actually half a finished object. Anyway, I'm already past that section of the podcast. So alright, so these socks are knitted toe up, and I was at this point, all of my progress keepers are turned upside down. Let me just turn it around. Funny. Okay, so I was at this point in the previous recording, and as you can see, I have finished this sock, the first sock of the pair. These are made for my husband, and his foot length is 27 centimeters. So it looks a little bit big, but it is the right size. Like, he actually fitted it already. So for this socks, I am using the Regia 4-ply yarn that I got from Arthur Bales. And as you can see here, I'm using 3 colors. The blue for the main color, I don't know the numbers. But anyway, and then I'm using a maroon color and grey for contrasting heels and toes, and a little stripe at the top. So, okay, I finished the first sock, and then let me remove this marker because it's now not needed there anymore. And I have started the second sock of the pair, which is now this big already, and I am just about to start the increases for the gusset on this pair of socks. So let me just put my marker in here. This is why all my markers are upside down, because I'm supposed to put them in upside down so that they can be right side up when I show them again. Anyway, mystery solved. Alright, so that is the socks. I do have some left over of the blue now, of this pair of socks. Let me see, here it is. So this is what I have left of the first ball of the first sock. So I am planning on making myself a pair as well, and I might use the blue in my own pair of socks for some striping or something. We shall see how that works out. But yes, I finished the first sock, and this is how far I am on the second, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish it this month still, but editing the podcast is a very nice time to knit on socks, so maybe. We shall see. I actually did this knitting over 2 evenings, so maybe. But that is the socks that I'm working on. So that is nice and exciting. Alright. And then I do have another whip. Now I'm going to show you this whip, but I am going to frog a piece of the whip. So I'm not going to put the progress keeper in it because I know I'm going to frog. So this is another hat for my husband. If you watched a previous episode, I'm not sure exactly which one, I was making him a hat, and I was making the bun hat, that is a bottom up neck flap hat, that you start at the bottom and you work all your way up to the top, and it's got a neck flap. So he likes the hat, and I'm not allowed to frog it anymore because it's his hat. But anyway, so I decided to make another one because it is still not exactly right. So this is my second prototype, and I decided to start from the top so that I can frog back when the bottom part does not work out as I want it to be. So this is actually how far I came. I've already bound off for the forehead, but I'm going to rip back. Let me remember now. I made some notes. I'm going to rip back until the start of my ribbing here, and then I'm going to do something else around the ears, and yes, start the ribbing again. So you see this project now with ribbing, and I'm going to frog back until the start of the ribbing and do it again. So that has also taken up a lot of time during these past 2 weeks. So that is partly why I didn't get to the baby cardigan. And this is a priority for me because it is winter, it is cold, and I would like to get this hat right still in winter time, if at all possible. So for this hat, I'm again using some Pure Gold acrylic yarn from my stash, and this is the colorway Grizzly. It is double knit yarn, and it's got 258 meters on 100 grams, and I'm using 4mm circular needles for this project. So yes, I'm still busy with a hat idea. I've been adding some short rows and things into this hat to try and get the shaping right as I want it. So we shall see how far I get with this. This one's increases look different to the previous hat's decreases, but I don't really mind. It still looks nice, and I will just use this tail to pull in that little hole in the middle of the hat when I'm done. So yes, that is the hat. Another whip that I'm working on currently. Okay, let me have a sip of tea. And then I am currently also working on this little sample. It's more like a gauge swatch that I'm making. I got some 9-inch circular needles, 2.25mm circular needles, and I'm swatching with this yarn to make sure that my gauge is correct, because I don't know how gauges will change from DPNs to 9-inch circulars, because previously with this composition of yarn, I actually used 2.25mm needles. So this yarn is another Knotty Habit yarn. This is a light fingering with 50% merino, 15% mulberry silk, 15% kit mohair, and 20% polyamide. It's got 400 meters on 100 grams, and the colorway's name was just like that. This is actually what it looks like. I hope you can see the color there. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. But if you've been watching for a while, you would remember that I was knitting a pair of socks for my husband with African Expression Soul, and it's got the same composition as this yarn. And when I bought this, Mincy from Naughty Habit told me to, if I'm making socks, I must remember to go down a needle size. So I'm knitting a little sample so that I can block it and see how it behaves when blocking, because with the African Expressions, it definitely did grow a bit in the blocking process. So this has been sitting next to my computer. If I wait for anything or talking to anybody, I've been knitting on this little sample so that I can block it and see how it behaves. So that is what was taking up all of my knitting time for these past 2 weeks. And then I do have future plans, of course. Being a knitter, we always have future plans, don't we? So my friend Leanie from Independence Crochet and I are going to another workshop of Juanita, but this time it is at the Yarny Corner, and it is a class on brioche where we are going to make the Scrappy Cowl. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll put a picture up for you. So I am planning a new cast on in the beginning of next month. So I really do need to finish up some things for this month. Luckily, today is Monday, so I still have 4 days to finish up the projects that I wanted to finish up. So with that said, let's move into the crafting goals section and we can talk a little bit about that. All right, let me see. So for my crafting goals, I wanted to finish one piece of lace for the pantry, the baby cardigan, the cowl, my hat, and I still had the Irene socks in the beginning of the month, and my husband's socks. So for these past 2 weeks, the plan was to do 46 repeats in total of the lace, 23 for the 1 week and 23 for the other week. And I almost did that. I just need like, what is that? About 20 stitches or so. I don't know. Just the last row of the lace repeat, and then the 23 repeats will be finished. So for this coming time, I still need to do 11 repeats, and I did not touch the baby cardigan, where I still need to make one sleeve and start joining the project together. So that I will be doing in this next week. For the cowl that I've been making, I still need to do the I-cord, weave in all the ends and block it. So I think that is really possible still this month. And then the last project that I had on my crafting goals list is my husband's socks. Now, I'm honest, I don't know if I will be able to finish them still this month, but doesn't really matter. If I don't, then I'll just finish them up quickly during the start of the next month, and I will be casting on a new pair of socks. So what I can tell you is that I have not yet worked out my goals for the next month. So I will be doing that in the beginning of the month, and I will be sharing the goals in the next podcast episode and tell you what I decided and what I am currently going to do for the next month. So for my crafting goals, I basically finished 4 of my 5 goals, which was I finished the first sock and started the second sock of my husband's socks. I finished my lace. I finished the cowl up to the point where I wanted it to be, and I finished the hat. What I did not meet is that I have not finished the baby cardigan yet, but as I said, it's just goals that I'm trying to achieve, and if I don't meet them, well, we just change them to what meet and suit our needs. So that is the crafting goals for this month. Not very exciting, but I am very excited that I've been able to almost keep up with it. I did not get that big amount of knitting time the past 2 weeks, and I'm still very impressed that I could do all of this knitting while keeping up with my Scrappy project and so forth. So anyway, let's move on to the next section of the podcast. Right, so for news, last week I released a video on how I make little granny hearts into decorations. I like to hang them on the doorknobs, and I have them hanging all over the house. So I released that last week, and I will link it down below for you. We had our first Crafty Stitches craft night, which was awesome. We had lovely people chatting together and exchanging ideas on projects, and talked a lot about crochet socks. So yes, that was a lot of fun. I think we'll definitely do that again, and I'll keep you posted on Instagram on when the next one will be, and we'll take it from there. Yesterday, that was okay, so that's a few days ago for you watching this on Wednesday. On Sunday we had our monthly Scrappy chat. Leanie of Independence Crochet and I host this Scrappy Sunday chat once a month, where we share our Scrappy projects and talk about all the things Scrappy. And we had an amazing guest, which was Mincy from Naughty Habit, and we got to see the dye studio, what it looked like inside. We had a little dye studio tour on the video, and we asked her a lot of questions on custom orders and different dye techniques and where it all started. So if you're interested in that, I will link it down below for you. We had a lot of fun, and yeah, we usually have a lot of fun on the Scrappy Sunday chats, but this one was exceptionally nice because we got to know a little bit more about what it takes to make a skein of yarn, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. As I mentioned, Leanie and I are going to this workshop on the 2nd of July at the Yarny Corner, where we will be having a class, attending a class rather, of brioche knitting, and Naughty Habit will have a pop-up shop there on the day. So if you're interested and in the vicinity, please pop in and support them and say hi. We will be there. All right, I think that is all I have for news. I do have some baking to do this week, and I think it's going to be a little bit challenging between power outages and so, but we'll figure it out and make it happen. So that is that. Then for my usual podcast recommendation, I do have 2 podcasts that I would like to recommend that I've been enjoying quite a lot. The first one is another South African podcaster. It is Hilda Stein from Ilona Slow Life. Creations Podcast. She is a designer, and she always talks about living slowly and with mindfulness. And yes, she says a thing as it is, and I really enjoy her Slow Saturday podcast, because in the previous one she was also saying that don't work on things that don't bring you joy. Life is too short. So there's always something to look forward to on a Saturday when the new podcast comes out, and she's got something to say that'll make you feel better and think about things in a different light. The next one that I would like to recommend is quite a new one. It is called Cowl Knits. I actually met Kelly on a Zoom craft night one evening, and we were chatting, and just as you do on a craft night, chatting about projects and so forth. But she started a podcast, and she's only got 3 episodes up at the moment. She's actually from Australia, living in Germany at the moment, but they are planning to move back to Australia sometime in the very near future. And in one of her episodes, she was making the petal party crop, and that is a beautiful garment. I really, really want to make more garments. Not sure how I'm gonna get that into my schedule, but I really want to make more garments that I can wear, because I mean, that is so much fun. But that is Kelly's podcast, and all of my podcast recommendations for you for this episode, and I will link all of them down below. That is actually all that I have for you this week. I don't know if it's going to be a shorter episode. Maybe not. We'll see when I've finished editing. And I just want to end the episode with my normal comment question. And my comment question for this episode is, do you make scrappy projects with your leftovers, or do you keep them for future projects like color work, or just where you need a little bit of a different contrasting color? I would love to know if you are into scrappy projects and what type of scrappy projects you make. So as I mentioned, we had our Scrappy Sunday chat yesterday, and I am currently working on 3 scrappy blankets, and I just made a pair of scrappy socks. Well, not so scrappy socks, because I used all the leftovers of the same colorway and held them double to make DK weight socks. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out, and I will also link the Ravelry project pages for you if you want to go see. But yes, that is all the scrappy project that I have at this moment. But if you have any suggestions for scrappy projects as well, you are welcome to send them my way. I would love to make more scrappy garments, or I don't know, other scrappy projects than just blankets. Okay, so that is all that I have for you for this episode. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more of my content. And I will see you in the next one. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.